Hello, 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 everyone. I'm Alvin King, host of He Said, He Said, He Said, a look at the world from a seasoned Black man's perspective. It is Friday, January the 5th. Welcome to our first show of 2024. Baby, grab a glass, grab your blanket, turn that TV up because we got a show for you. Let's get into it. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to another brand new show of He Said, He Said, He Said. Look, it is pretty cold outside, ladies and gentlemen, and people are returning from all of their holiday, vacations and whatnot. And what they're bringing back are colds and flus. Okay, so COVID is running rampant, ladies and gentlemen. So I got to start this show out by saying, please take care of yourselves and take care of those around you, because a lot of people are having respiratory issues. And, again, COVID is doing what it does. It's spreading. So I'm going to ask you to take care of yourself. Again, welcome to our show tonight. We are so excited about our first show of the year, and we're going to do it on a high note, ladies and gentlemen. We have the incredible vocalist of stage and theater, Miss Nova Payton is here with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, I go to theater. I be tracking down theaters to see this woman, and we have her here on our show, ladies and gentlemen. She has a show coming up that we're going to talk about, and we cannot wait to get into it with Miss Payton, ladies and gentlemen. And before, I bring the guys on, I got a couple of things I want to talk about. Okay. With all that's going on in the world, I want to ask y'all, have you all been paying attention to this Stanley Cup craze? I mean, online sites are offering up to $300 for this tumbler. This tumbler that basically is just a tumbler. It doesn't even sit in your car. And if you go to StockX, it is selling for between $50 and up to $29,000 for a cup. And there's nothing magical about this cup. It's just that it has taken off on on X. And I mean, people are going crazy for it. And just this week in Target, I mean, they were knocking people over to get this red cup. All the soccer moms were in there, trying to get the cup. And from what I hear, this cup has made $676 million since 2019 to 2023. I don't know what the crave is, but I just had to get it out there again. With all that's going on in the world, the Stanley Cup, this Stanley mug cup thing is taking off, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's my little funny spiel for tonight. But on a serious tip, tomorrow, Sunday, is the Golden Globe Awards, ladies and gentlemen, which are voted on by roughly 300 journalists. And they don't always line up with the Oscars, but it is on this coming Sunday. And it is a lot of us in the, being represented. We don't always have a good representation of us. And we're going to talk more about that. But they have a new category this year. The Globe introduced two new prizes to celebrate the box office achievements and stand-up comedy performances. So that means people like, Taylor Swift for her Eras tour and John Wick, Chapter 4 and Guardians of the Galaxy, they are, destined to win a Golden Globe this year. And actors or comedians like Trevor Noah, Amy Schumer, and Rick Gervais, they are all up for awards, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the first time that they're doing it, and it's all based on sales or how they did, in the, as far as their making money. It's not, they are actors and actresses, and they're good at what they do, but it's really about the sales, ladies and gentlemen. So look, thank you again for joining us tonight, and we're ready to get on with our show, and I'm ready to get these guys in here. So let's get on with the chat. What?
Hey, Happy New Year. Happy 2024.
Happy 2024. Our listeners people are chiming in with responses, Alvin, to what you've been talking about in terms of this craze about this mug, this tumbler.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Look, you guys, I was so into greeting you all and can we say hi to them then? Can we say hi to them right now?
Sure.
Yes,
JJ,
hey, Alma.
Greetings.
And
Alma
Monica.
said the mug survived a car fire.
Who?
Alma just said that the cup survived a car fire, and I guess she's responding to the Stanley cup that you were speaking about.
It is true. They put one of them in a car and set the car on fire, and it survived a car fire.
Oh, wow.
But for $350, you should. I mean, don't
and of course, it's wasting energy to jump on a useless trend.
We see JJ is saying hi. He always gives us separate hellos. Do you all notice that?
Hey, JJ, Happy New Year.
And I appreciate it.
He does. He knows how separate we are, but a text. Thank you, JJ. Thank you. And Oral Health is here. Thank you so much. Look,
yep, Aaron. I love it.
You guys are on here to see Nova Payton, baby.
Ringo, come on now. The folks that are coming in tonight. I love it.
George wants a cup. He's like, when and how do I get a mug? Well, you have to pay attention because we're going to have contests.
Oh my goodness! And my brother is back from sunny Puerto Vallarta. How you doing, Darren? Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for being
here. We love it. We absolutely love it. Before I begin with our topic for the chat tonight, I am a very, very proud member of a fraternity that was founded 113 years ago today. So I just want to give a very special shout out to all my brothers of the noble clan of Kappa Alpha Psi. So yo to the noobs. 113 years today. So our chat. One of the things we I don't even know what you all said. I know it was catty, so let me just go on a raise. Come on.
Go Greek. Okay.
Congratulations. That was the big thing you needed to hear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay.
If people only knew the hazing that we do to one another behind scenes. Anyway. All right, so one of the things we want to do also is, from time to time, is share with the viewers and share among my brothers here things that we find that we just feel too good to not share, whether it's a book or a movie or whatever. And I was talking to the fellas the other day about the film American Fiction, which I saw over the break, which I absolutely loved. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the summary, the synopsis of it is that there is a young man who's a frustrated novelist. His name is Thelonious Ellison in the movie. And it, of course, named after Thelonious Monk. So his nickname is Monk. He's a frustrated novelist who's fed up with the establishment that profits from Black entertainment that relies on tired and offensive tropes. To prove his point, he uses a pen name to write an outlandish Black book of his own, a book that propels him into the heart of the hypocrisy and the madness that he claims to disdain. And so it is a really, really incredible book. Again, it's called American Fiction, and it stars Jeffrey Wright, who is just, an acclaimed actor. Many of you will remember him. One of his most famous roles is Angels in America. Here he is here. I think he is just aging and looking so handsome and wonderful as he's getting older. Very, very talented.
And so DC.
And so DC, that's right, Alvin. He is a native Washingtonian. I was going to throw that in there. And he's backed up by an incredible cast, including Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, and Erica Alexander, who many of you may remember from her role as Maxine on Living Single. And what I loved about this is that it is a social commentary, obviously, on the hoops and expectations of America around Black entertainment and certainly Black writing. He has enjoyed, mediocre at best success as a writer because he's writing and, to a high level, if you will. And one of his publishers says to him, well, people want a Black book from you. And I remember one of the lines in the movie, he's like, but it is a Black book. I wrote it and I'm Black, so it's a Black book. But he realizes that by making this kind of like hypocritical novel, he reaches this high level of success. And so it looks at that as a social commentary on what really is defined as Black art by America. But what I also loved about it is it also delves into some really interesting dynamics around family relationships. Tracy Ellis Ross plays his sister. Sterling K. Brown plays his brother. And for some of you who may remember iconic entertainer Leslie Uggams, she plays his mother as well. So it's a really rich cast with, I think, snappy and funny and witty writing, but that also looks at, commentary, but also family dynamics. So I just want to encourage seeing American Fiction. And we'd love to hear, if you guys get to go out and see it, we'd love to hear your thoughts on it moving forward as well. So American Fiction in theaters right now.
Can we get a full on Bobby just for
really?
a quick second?
Can we do that? Yeah, please.
When you see the film and you see the main character, I want you to wonder whether or not they're the same person.
Right. I mean,
the whole movie, I was like, is that Bobby? Bobby's so good acting.
You do look like Jeffrey Wright in that movie. You
well,
really
that makes me feel good because I think Jeffrey Wright looks good in that movie. So.
And I hope, baby, I hope that somebody from the movie are watching this show, because you should be paid, okay? Yeah. Because you sold some tickets tonight to see American Fiction. And can I also add, ladies and gentlemen, for the Golden Globes on Sunday, American Fiction has been nominated for Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy. Okay, so please, we are definitely rooting for American Fiction. And some more folks have come on. We said hello to Alma. My godson is on here. Hello, Timmy. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm sorry to see you before you left. And hey, Kendall. And Billy Malloy. I'm going to tell y'all, Billy Malloy is one of the most sought after hair stylists in DC. So he's on the show either doing somebody's hair or he took the day off. Okay, so Billy.
He's seen Nova perform many times. Amazing.
Thank you. So if you all are ready, it's about that time. We want to get our special guest on the show. If you guys are ready, I want to go ahead and introduce Nova and get her onto the show. You guys ready?
Ready.
Yeah.
Bring her in.
Okay, hold on. Take a sip, baby, because this.
Okay, here we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, chances are that you have heard the amazing soprano voice of Nova Payton on with the internationally staged musical Three More Divas, or on television on PBS of a PBS special called Black Broadway, A Proud History, A Limitless Future, or in countless regional theater productions across the country. Boasting a prolific catalog of artist collaborations, the former American Musical and Dramatic Academy student has shared the stage with Stevie Wonder, Roberta Flack, Bobby McFerrin, Yolanda Adams, Betsy Wolfe, Anthony Hamilton, and Michelle Williams. And she is also open for heavyweights like Ashford and Simpson, Will Downing, Stephanie Mills, and Melba Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, with her busy schedule, after performing in over 150 major cities in the U.S., as well as Canada, Japan, and Singapore, and Saudi Arabia, and let me not forget Europe, here with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is our special guest, Nova Payton, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo-woo!
Yes! Yes!
I just need a cup. I need a cup so I can sip.
Yes, you do.
We think so. We think so.
After this show, I'm going to make arrangements because a cup is coming.
A cup is coming.
Okay? Thank you so much for being here, sweetheart. Thank you. Oh, my God.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hey. And, the last time you were doing a run, and when I say run, you were doing a run because I saw you in Grace, and next thing I knew, you were doing The Color Purple.
Oh, yes.
And oh, wait a minute.
Come on. Okay, come on now. We got to get that image.
Let's.
There you go.
Here it is.
Yes.
There you go.
You know what it say? Ask and you shall receive.
I was going to say you have not because you ask not.
That's it. That one too.
Thank you for all of our He-Sedians who are in that room who have made that possible.
They're like,
we got you. Well, Nova, we know you. We know that we only have you for a short time, so I'm going to kick off my questions with you because we got a lot to get into with you. So again, welcome to our show tonight, and thank you for being here. So I have a two-part question. I want you to tell us, or our viewers, when you got the acting bug, and when did you know that your voice could move people?
Oh, wow. First, I want to thank you all so much for taking this time with me. I'm so excited to be here with you all. I want to thank Silver Logan Sharp and Daryl Hunt for allowing me to be in Street Symphonic tonight in the studio with you all.
Come on.
Those are peeps. Those are peeps.
And they're in the background too.
Yeah. So I would have to say that my mom said that I started singing before I started speaking. So I always hummed and I always sang, and my voice has always been this high. Speaking, this is it. And so I know that I was one of the youngest. I was raised in a Black Catholic church, and I was one of the youngest members in the chorale, holding a folder of music that I could not read anything, but I was like, I wanted to do what the adults did. So I started in church, and my mother also at the same time put me in dance. So luckily and grateful for my mom, because she's also a performer, a singer, an entertainer. And so she didn't just put me in like any dance school. She put me in a dance school that also did a lot of musical theater. So the first thing that I remember doing at the age of 3, I was a little flower, a green flower, in a production of Santa Comes to Cabbage Patch Land with the Department of Parks and Recreation Center.
You got to start as a flower.
Come on.
I was a little green flower. Everything was green.
Already blossoming, though. Already blossoming.
See that? But I can say I was surrounded by like the likes of like Tony Terry and Derek Rutledge. I remember him doing my little lipstick at that age, because you didn't really need much, but I remember him painting us green and doing our little lipstick, who's now like
So you're saying that Derek Rutledge did your makeup before he got to Oprah Winfrey, is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Look, Derek Rutledge worked with me before he got to Oprah Winfrey, before he got to her lips. Okay,
I'm not going to tell you how I know him.
Nope. Go on, Nova.
So I just remember like that being my first taste of musical theater. But at the time it was more of dance for me, because my mom being a singer, and like to me she's the best ever to ever do it, and I knew that I could never like top my mom. But growing up, I danced from the age of 3 to 16, and we did these shows. We would do these recitals, and our recitals wouldn't be just like, you show your dance and then everything was scripted, everything, always. And we always sang and we always danced and we had to act. So that was the beginning of my introduction into theater.
But did you have a moment when you looked in the audience and you said, "Oh, I got you right here"? Was there a moment that you had?
I have to honestly say that, I've always been in the mindset of, when you sing at home, you sing around people who love you. So everybody's going to tell you, "Oh, you sound good. Oh, she can sing." And I don't think that I really, really tapped into the realization that this is something that I could really do until I left home. And I received the same responses from people who did not know me and did not grow up with me. And then, not saying that I did not trust that they believed in me, but it's just, it hits different when people from spaces who don't even know you and tell you the same thing that your loved ones and your family, are speaking into you. So I want to say I had to leave home to really, really believe that it was something that I could really do.
I got it. Thank you. Wow.
So you had such a broad range of performances, and your the list of performances and venues, et cetera, is extensive. There are people who find themselves only getting there after years and years of training. Give us some insight in terms of the training that you've gone through to get to this very point.
Yeah. So after I graduated, I went to private school all my life, Catholic school, and I graduated from Bishop McNamara High School, which is in Forestville, Maryland.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to Bishop McNamara. Yes, Mustangs. And from there, I knew I wanted to go away. I grew up on the Howard University campus, as I said, because we talked about those shows being at Crampton Auditorium growing up, and even my recitals were there at Ira Aldrich. So I grew up on the campus, and actually I grew up literally up the street because I'm from 7th and Taylor, Georgia Avenue, up and through and through.
Washingtonian here. That's what we're talking. HU too. There we go.
So I grew up and I wanted to leave home. So that's when I decided that I wanted to. Also, I was kind of over core classes as far as like math and English and stuff like that. So I wanted to really, really study and perfect the craft. So I went to, that's where I did not have any clue about the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York. At the time, it was a 2-year conservatory study. Program, basically you dance and sang all day. You took theory all day. That was just your life. And it was, to me, like what I envisioned like LaGuardia school would be, or even Duke Ellington, because even though I didn't attend Duke Ellington, I had friends who attended Duke Ellington, so I would hear about their vigorous schedules after their core classes and everything in the evening. So it was a thing where I wanted to immerse myself into it. And from there, I didn't like the program because they wanted to put me in a box, and I don't like being put in the box where, oh, you are the only Black girl with the big voice, and of course all you want to do is belt, scream. And I'm like, no, I can do that, but I have other parts of my voice that I would love to, touch as well. When I was told that I would never be cast as Belle in Beauty and the Beast, or something of that nature, or Cinderella, because I wanted to sing in my own little corner at the time, I was like, I'm not with that. Like, I feel like that's not my story. I feel like there's more to just the big voice, and because I know that I've worked so hard on having all different styles of singing, I wanted to do that. So I left, and grateful for myself, my godfather, who's since passed, he's been gone for a while now, Andre Smith. He was traveling with Roberta Flack, and he traveled as her background singer, and he also traveled as her wardrobe person. He would do her makeup, her hair, like he was an
Renaissance man.
Yes, Renaissance man. And so I was fortunate enough to kind of like be surrounded by her. And then once he took ill, and she was just like, hey, what are you doing? And she took me up under her wing.
Wow.
And so
another Howardite. Yeah.
Being home though, and being surrounded, I grew up with Silver. I grew up with, like I said, Roberta Flack. I grew up with Derek Rutledge. I grew up with Harvey Starr Washington. I know y'all know Harvey.
We know Harvey.
I grew up with like all of the greats, and I just like soaked it up. Leon Roberts, who was one of the original Howard Gospel Choir directors. He was my first music teacher because I attended St. Augustine, and that's the parish that I grew up in. So I just remember music from, a time where from birth. Yes. And I knew that there was more than just being stuck in a box, and I didn't believe in that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
It sounds like you came up at a time when the programs were happening at the right time to just scoop you up and just have you ride this wave into fabulosity. And I'm so happy that it has ended. Well, it has continued with you being here with us tonight. And we so look forward to your journey. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
So I have a quick question for you, because with all of that serendipity that was going on musically, the time of the world that you were going through and doing everything, from secular music, gospel music, even musical theater, who are your inspirations, your musical inspirations?
Oh my gosh. I love Sarah Vaughan. I love Ella Fitzgerald. If we're talking jazz, those are like the ones that I found myself kind of like being immersed into. Listening to just the different colors and the parts that they do with their voice, the intervals that they sing excite me. I love, if we're going into the gospel world, I'm in love with the Clark sisters, of course. I even, oh my gosh, Erica Campbell, Tina Campbell, Yolanda. If we're talking about the old caravans, and my granny used to listen to Mahalia Jackson. Though she scared me, I still could appreciate her voice.
She did. Like, you were like, I gotta act right.
Yeah. Anytime that thing come on, I was like, okay. Oh man, she scared me, but I loved old gospel, traditional gospel. I love a good hymn. So if you can sing me a good hymn with the lines and the breath control that they sang with then, I appreciate the embellishments as well. But a good, singing a good melody with a long line and full of just soul and heart, I love it. Let's see who else. Oh gosh, it's too many to. Of course, Roberta. Growing up under her and listening to her, and actually getting pointers from her. Natalie Cole, Yolanda Adams. Man, like the list is like
it goes on.
And you cover so many points on the spectrum for variations that they all bring. Roberta is very different than Alita, which and to get those, as you said, like intonations, breath controls, that emotion that comes through them, because they're just not I'm hitting high note singers; they are emoting singers.
Absolutely,
and a lot about who you
are. I always tell people that I would prefer somebody who doesn't know how to do all of that, but can tell a great story through song. Yes. And with the storytelling, that's how you connect to the people. They're able to connect to the lyrics and the feeling that you are giving to like one line, and just the dynamics and all of the good stuff in there. I mean, that to me tops anything else that anybody can do. I want to be along for the journey, and I think that's what's so great about Samara Joy now. And even like, oh gosh, Christy DeShield, the voices like totally different than mine, but just singers that can just like tell a story and get you on board. And I'm like, I'm strapped in. I'm on for the ride. Let's go. I listen to the whole thing 6,000 times.
Let's talk about being strapped in. But I just ask quickly, is it hard as a singer to sit at a concert and listen to other people sing?
You know what? I would say now it is, only because I teach at Howard. I'm a voice instructor for the musical theater program. So I'm very, very in tune to things like that I say, like being able to tell a story, coloring words and what does that sound like? Because if I were to close my eyes, what would you want me to see? Like imagery is very important and all of those things. So I sit back and I try to turn off the teacher hat and just like enjoy, which I can say the last couple of shows that I've gone to go see has been thoroughly entertaining for me. But whenever I get to go, it's not that often, but I try to turn off that and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense when you have someone who is doing what you're talking about, who allows you to just trust them. And that's such an important thing as a performer to give your audience. It's the best gift in the world.
Absolutely.
So you've done so many things. Like, to look at your resume is actually pretty impressive. So it makes sense that you are actually a teacher now, because after doing this for so long, and as well as you do it, you should be passing on your gifts to some of these other students. But you've starred in so many leading roles that people know about. Dreamgirls, Blackbeard, Hairspray. We talked about Grace a number of times. You were in The Color Purple. How do you know when a role is right for you? And I have a follow-up question to this.
I find that I want to, here's an interesting fact about The Color Purple. Originally, I was supposed to be Suge in that production. I was cast as Suge because the show was actually cast pre-pandemic. Right. And when the pandemic hit, it changed everything. And then, of course, once we opened back up, everybody's schedule was all over the place once they finally could sit in where it's going to fit in Signature season. So I was very excited about bringing a different look to Suge than people were used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was asked would I do Sealy, it was like, oh, wah. But then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure I could do that. Sure. But it's one of those things where you want to be able to tell a story that you feel that you can connect to, so that you can tell a good journey, to put yourself through a good journey, because I don't believe in like just being in the show just to say that I'm in a show. Because I understand it's a commitment, because I have 2 children. So when I walk away from my house, I want to be able to walk into a space and enjoy where I am. It's a second home for me. So it's different. It just depends on the story. I'm in love with new works now, because you get to actually build your own character. So those are things that interest me, and like, what is the story? What's the journey? And what's the challenge for me in getting the journey and the story across?
So since we are talking about, we've given some kudos to some folks. Is new work a part of Nolan Williams?
Absolutely.
I need to give a shout out to my brother, Nolan Williams. Yes, I wanted to make sure that I got that in there. He is
one and only Nolan E. Williams Jr.
Nolan Williams Jr. That's right. That's right. Well, you kind of answered a question from Vash's question that I want to ask you. So I'm going to take this time to first congratulate you on winning the 2023 Helen Hayes Award for playing Seeley in The Color Purple.
Thank you.
I mean, you knocked it out the park, and that was an award, I mean, so well deserved. It was just so, I wanted to make sure that I did that. And since we're talking about The Color Purple, I want to get your take on the transformation of the original movie to the Broadway stage and now movie musical. Do you have, an opinion, anything that you want to share about, the movie and all of that transition?
To me, the Color Purple is the gift that keeps on giving. And I say that because I remember seeing the original movie, when it first came, I guess, on TV. I wasn't able to see it in theaters, but when it came on cable, I was able to see it. And then I remember reading the novel once I got to high school. And then I remember seeing the first production on Broadway and how big and huge it was. And I just feel like it keeps, how can I say, reintroducing itself to a generation every time. It's a story that definitely needs to be heard and seen, so we can see where our people have come from, especially women, and how strong and the things that they had to overcome. So I love now that this new generation gets to see this iteration of the show, of the story, with the music, because I feel like so much with social media and with music the way that it is now, our lives are totally saturated with just music. And music is on TikTok, music is on Facebook, you know what I mean? Like any video you flip up, you're hearing music. So to get into the theater and see it was a lighter version to me, light-hearted version more. So I feel like it's palatable for people to actually sit and appreciate. So I'm grateful. I've seen it twice because I got a chance to see it. I took my mom as a gift for her pre-birthday when it came to the African American Museum and we got a chance to do the talk back with Oprah and Fantasia and everyone who was there. So that was exciting. And then I actually got a chance to sit and see it again a couple of weeks ago, I believe. Got back from vacation, and I'm still, I love it. Some of the things I missed from the show that I feel like did help with the storytelling and transitioning and things, and so you can actually get the connection of Celie and Suge and why that was so important. Those type of things. But I mean, I also enjoyed the new stuff that came and the things that they did with the new orchestrations, and so yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving, though.
The way you just expressed all of that, Nova, if I can, when I talk to people about the color purple now, you've just helped me have a better conversation with them, because for Black folks, it took us from our living room, and Black folks don't typically, they say that we don't go to the theater, but it took us to the theater, and now it's taking us to the movie. So you have, the color purple is that gift that keeps on giving. I'm going to use that in the next conversation. Thank you for answering that.
Absolutely. I actually remember seeing it, going up to New York to see it, and was, I'm a bit of a people watcher as well. And it was just amazing to see buses of Black people.
And see, and when did you go see it? Did you see the original or did you see the revival?
I saw the original.
I saw both.
Okay, I saw both as well. Yeah. And and you're right, like in droves, busloads.
Coming. Yeah, and just feeling that the stereotype was being broken. It was like, we do something. If there's something that inspires us to come, we will come.
We're going to do it.
We will come. And even the production that I did last year at Signature, busloads.
Yeah.
It was like, and it was people who came multiple times to see it.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was
but it also speaks to our desire to see reflections of our experiences and our stories, which leads right into the next question about the Black Broadway, A Proud History, A Limitless Future, that was aired on PBS in February for Black History Month. It was celebrating the rich history of roles and voice on Broadway with an all-star cast, including, of course, Miss Nova Payton. And we had Corbin Bleu, Norman Lewis, Tiffany Mann, John Manzari, Peppermint, Nikki Renee Daniels, Lee Flynn, and Sidney James Harcourt. And I was there for that. As I said, as I was sharing with you before the show, I had the distinct honor of sitting with your mother, actually, watching her experience you up on the stage. And one of our listeners who's been chiming in tonight, Troy Patterson, who was just saying that your rendition of I'm Here was amazing. And I certainly echo and agree with that. In fact, when it aired, I kept saying, why do I keep seeing Troy on the television show? And not, I was there too. But anyway, it was an extraordinary thing. Can you tell us a little bit more about that Black Broadway effort and whether or not we have a chance to see something like that coming again?
Yeah. So that is actually my first associate producer credit for a show. I've worked with American Pops Orchestra a lot, doing a lot of symphony dates. And when the maestro, Luke Frazier, came to me and was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. Let's sit and talk about it. And I was like, okay, great. And here's the thing. I love that he was very open with, like, I don't want to say what needs to be done. I know what songs are great and what things have been done, but I also want to give people an option or an opportunity to do something that they maybe wanted to do, but will never do or never be cast as. So that was actually great. And also kind of like one of those things was like, oh gosh, because we had to figure out the rights and how do we get the sheet music and what's the best way, because we don't actually, and at the time I was actually in production with the Color Purple. So I ended up actually, for some strange reason, that show was canceled. So it wasn't scheduled to be in the production. So that was the only way that I was able to actually tape with the audience. I was originally supposed to tape the day before, like Stephanie did with hers, because I wasn't gonna have the opportunity to actually be in because I had to do the show. But turns out God was like, nope, you need to be in the room. And I'm like, I'm grateful for that. And
as were we.
It was amazing, and the energy was great. But coming up with the songs and figuring out what songs would fit and what were the options that we give people. And I loved that my sister Amber, she was like, hey, I just finished doing this show. It's new. It's a new story. And it's Black, and I want to sing from it. I was like, hey, if you can get the rights, and if the director and the music composer will allow you, we would love for that to happen, because that does mean the future of Black Broadway, right? And so it was amazing, just kind of like sitting through and going through with Tiffany Mann doing Pearly, I Got Love, and like just their take on these songs that was that we know well, but also just putting your spin on it.
Yeah.
Because I would never be a Jennifer Holliday. I work with Jennifer. She is amazing. You know, I'll never be a Jennifer Hudson. She's amazing. But to be able to do I'm Not Going, and to be able to do I'm Here in a way that I would tell the story based off of my life experiences and what those words and the storyline means to me, meant the world to be able to express and show that night.
We were blessed by your performance.
And you can definitely see the show, ladies and gentlemen. One of our viewers did put up the link, the PBS special. Definitely check it out. Nova, thank you, Troy. You were definitely amazing. Thank you.
So, how did the cabaret That's What Friends Are For, which you are really here to promote?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So, Signature, I consider my home theater. That was the first theater that I actually worked at after I decided that I wasn't going to do much traveling after I had my son. My oldest is 14, and he traveled with me for the first 2.5 years. I was nursing him, and he was on bus and planes and everything with my baby. And then I was like, I want to be hands-on. I'm very hands-on when it comes to parenting. And I didn't care for leaving him much. So I had never worked at home in any of the theaters, was totally oblivious to the fact that there were things like that happening, which is another thing where I'm like, I'm glad that I'm able to introduce that to the students that I teach now, because I did not know. I just knew about museums growing up. You know what I mean? Like, we would go to field trips to the museums, not to the actual theaters and the shows.
Right.
So once I started figuring out that I wanted to transition from traveling and doing that type of work, background work, I said, I'll figure out theater, what's around. So I started auditioning, and once I got into Signature, my first show there was Hairspray, where I did Motormouth Mabel. And that was fun. And then from there, it's like production after production. And then I opened doors to other theaters as well. But Signature has always supported me in the artists outside of musical theater. They always give you a space where you can create shows for yourself. And so that's what Friends Are For. Before Burt Bacharach passed away, I literally went to Matt and I was like, hey, I love Burt Bacharach. I love Dionne Warwick. And I just remember at my time in school in New York, I would listen to Dionne on the subway singing all of those greats. Do You Know the Way to San Jose? What's It All About? Alfie, Message to Michael. Like, those were, and then all the other songs that I didn't know, Close to You. Yes. I didn't realize that On My Own was his, like those type of songs, but those are the songs that I listened to and loved. So I had told him, I was like, hey, I really want to do a Burt Bacharach tribute. And again, he was like, okay, cool. So we'll try to figure out where we can do it. And I was like, okay. And he sent me some dates, and it wasn't really lining up with what I had already scheduled. And it just so happened that I had this time available to do it. Like, and normally they try to do like a week. And I think that was early on, you would do like a week of shows, but then they realized that in a week, the shows would sell out. So let's do a 3-week thing. So it's actually 3 weeks of me with my favorite songs from Burt Bacharach, and reimagined some of them. Because like I said, I have Daryl Hunt as an MD, and along with Michael Bowie and Carol Dashiell on drums, and Deontay Haggerty Willis. And we had our first rehearsal the other day, and we were all in that rehearsal like, oh, so many things, so many things, so many things. But it was so exciting to be with a group of people who are like-minded and with energy of wanting to do this thing and wanting it to be great. So yeah, that's how it happened, and I'm so excited that it's happening in like another week or so.
Me
and
too.
I can't wait for people to hear what we're coming up with.
And Signature Theater is here in the DMV, just for
Yes, they are. Yep, Shirlington.
Do we have a link to show?
We can get a link. I'm going to ask our assistant producer to grab a link for the Signature Theater. There is a link for the Signature Theater that talks about the show. Yes, there is a link. So hopefully, but before we go, we can go ahead and do that. Yeah. So all right.
You mentioned that you love Burt Bacharach's music, that, listening to Dion sing those. Tell us what speaks to you about Burt Bacharach's music.
I am a sucker for melody.
Yes.
And I'm a sucker for lyrics. Like I guess because being an actor and having to connect with storytelling, and when you're in school, you literally take a class on how do you break down a song and storytelling. Like, what are your adjectives? What are your thoughts? Give yourself a reason why. And so those are the things that and a lot of his melodies are very simple, but how they land and how he put certain emphasis on certain words with a certain chord and all of those things just gives me chills.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well,
it's
before
in a way that doesn't necessarily exist as much. It still exists, but it's harder to find that combination of the melody
and that's the thing. It's about love. And it's about what the world needs. And it's about, like imagery, why do birds suddenly appear? Like things like that. You know what I mean? Like, what are you saying? It's poetry.
You gotta be in love or crazy for birds to appear every time somebody walks in the room.
It does. Listen.
Well, look,
Burt is so much about the journey when he takes you, like when you sing a song, and that's something that you brought up earlier. Like you and your voice and the way that you like to give a song is to take people on the journey. I think it's a perfect pairing.
Thank you.
Well, and speaking of pairing, I'm going to give another plug. You have Grammy Award-winning artist Daryl Hunt playing with you. Okay, when I tell you I love me some Daryl Hunt, that's my brother from another mother. Okay, so you have Daryl Hunt. That I cannot wait to see the performance, and so I'm looking.
I was just honored that he said yes, because we know how busy he is.
We do know. We do know
to have him under his fingers under the keys and creating with me. It's like amazing. It's going to be a sight to see, guys.
Well, I'm gonna be at that show, and when I come up and say Nova, it's Bobby from He Said. Don't be acting like you don't know me.
Never. You ain't ever got to worry about that.
Okay.
Never ever got to worry about that.
Okay.
Well, Nova, we're about to bring our interview with you to a close, but two things I want to ask before one thing. Please tell us, if you could briefly tell us what the audience can expect when they visit the show starting the 16th of January.
They can expect to hear some of the greats, songs from their past. They can expect to hear them like they were sung, and they can expect to hear them the way that I would sing them.
Come on. Did y'all see that mic hit the ground?
No,
it hit the ground. And for everybody who's on our viewers that know me, if you all want to get together and we go see this show together, let's get together and do it, because we're going to see Nova Payton. And Nova, before you leave, if I could just ask you to bless us with a song of your choice. Of course, I'm a gospel boy, but bless us with a song of your choice to take us out. And do it on your own accord.
Okay, I'm putting a little in my mug here because I'm getting ready.
You said gospel, so let's see. We can do. I'll do this. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart be lonely and long for heaven and home? When Jesus is my portion, a constant friend is he. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nova, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
thank you.
Come on now.
Thank you for blessing us. Thank you so much for being here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Nova Payton sings Burt Bacharach, ladies and gentlemen, and that will be starting January the 16th, going through February the 4th. Nova, am I correct?
Yes, going through February the 4th. And I must say, you will see some special guests in there as well.
Okay, the link is right there, people.
Come on.
Come on.
Well, Nova, please don't go away. We're going to bring you back so we can say goodbye to our guests. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you. Say goodbye to our viewers. You're our guests, and we will bring you back shortly. Thanks again, Nova.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, what a treat!
Yeah.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, sometimes our guests we get so into them and we can't let them go. But we did say for this show, first of all, we wanted to show our appreciation to all of you for the past year. And we just wanted to, say thank you and share with you a clip from each of our favorite shows. And, you know, just talk about it for a couple of minutes and just, again, let you all know how much we appreciate you. So, Bobby, you want to start us off?
Sure. You know, when we were having our production show and Alvin came up with this idea of us kind of like reflecting back on some of the shows of the last year. And you know, one of the things that I felt was a tremendous sense of pride in some of the shows that we've done. And just the choice was not easy. But I chose one in particular that really spoke to my heart. And it included our special guest, Ashton Pena, a young filmmaker who was just really, his energy just kind of leaped through the screen, his infectious smile, and the clip that I wanted us to remember and reflect upon. He's involved in scholarships that support young filmmakers, college students, but particularly those whose lives have been impacted by HIV, who are actually living with HIV. And he shared with us his own HIV experience and just really wanting to be of support to creative beings who are also dealing with a very, very important life issue. So I have a short clip here and you'll see between his energy and that infectious smile, you'll see why I picked this moment with Ashton Pena. Supporting these young filmmakers, if you were to give them one bit of advice as a young storyteller, what is the most important piece of advice you could give them as emerging storytellers?
I love working with youth, because especially queer youth, because they have so much. There's the gamut of the stories that they have within them are just kind of, it's mind blowing. You're like, yo, you're 17 and you want to tell a story about that. But in anybody, you emerging, young, older, because emerging could be in your 50s as well, a seasoned professional who's navigated life and just realized that they wanted to go out and tell stories is just go out and do it. Don't wait for somebody to say you deserve to go, you're worthy enough, because ultimately if you have breath and you're still here on this and existing in this shape and form, you're worthy, you matter. And so go out and do it. Even if it starts small, you start filming on your cell phone, you use your apartment, you use your job that you work at, you use whatever you have within your fingertips and you make something happen. And then know that because you made those little steps towards something, a bigger thing will reveal itself. Here I am. I made this film literally with savings. People gave me a little bit of coins here and there. You know, I have a film that went to over 10 film festivals, won 2 awards, is distributed, and a lot of films get made and nobody will ever see them. And here is my Black queer story about Black queer men navigating intimate partnerships that the world gets to experience. And it's because I said so, because I said, no, I'm enough, I'm worthy, and I deserve it. Because I did it, maybe that will inspire somebody else to go do it. And then we have this massive canning of Black queer stories that showcase the ranges, because here we are, I'm talking to seasoned men, right? Like, there's more films needed to be told about people like y'all. And it's gonna take filmmakers who are grounded in that experience, maybe one of y'all or somebody, to like tell that story of these older queer men navigating, whether it's dating, living, you know, because we're all on different journeys in the spectrum. And so we need to see more and more of what exists out in the world, because we're here.
Wow. All right, look. Wow.
I just love his energy and commitment to tell our stories, and to encourage young people who are out there doing it and encouraging that. So I wanted to, Nana's Boys is the name of his film, and I just wanted to tip my hat to Ashton and thank him for the energy that he brought to our show.
I'm just wondering how y'all felt about being told that y'all are older.
I enjoy getting older. First of all, if you can look like me, you need to get old too.
Ooh. Well, he's 30 some odd years old, so Ashton's 30 some odd years old, so almost everybody's older than him.
Exactly.
So
you could be 40, you could be older than him because he's 30 some odd than him.
Exactly.
Over the last year, we have developed a concept or an episode that we have called Let's Get Newsy. And when I originally brought this up to the guys, it sounds so cheesy to me. It was like, let's get newsy. It really did. And I kept saying it to Vosh, I know 100 times, because I was like, I like it, but it's not clicking. But Let's Get Newsy, those shows have allowed our viewers, you all, to connect with Bobby, Vosh, and I, and to see our individual characters, to listen to us debate, talk, agree to disagree, or whatever about certain opinions. So I just want to play a clip, and I'm not going to ask my producer to play the whole clip, but I want to play this clip from a show that could have gone a different way, but it did what it does because of who we are. Brother Bilal is doing right now. I don't know if I would be doing that. And I'm talking about Brother Bilal's confession about Will Smith and him catching Will Smith having, literally very explicitly outlining what he saw Will Smith having sex with Dwayne Martin. Okay. And for those of you who don't know, in an interview on Uwine with Tasha K on her podcast, Smith's former assistant, Brother Bilal, made graphic claims about an alleged sexual encounter between the King Richard actor and his pal, Dwayne Martin, which Bilal claimed to have witnessed himself in 1993 on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Wow.
He said he saw it. And, you know, some of these allegations that some of these actors and whatnot are getting, they're not all to be brushed under the table like, oh, that this couldn't happen to them. Some of these things are like real.
But in the case of this one, why now? Why? And what is the significance now of this man talking about something he saw back when you said 90 something?
1993. See, and that's what
I said. Two consenting adults.
Right. Well.
Well, they were both grown, is all I'm saying. Now they were married or whatever. But all I'm saying is, I'm just curious as to there's one thing when someone is alleging that you did something to them, that, you know, that there was a sexual assault. I was not. But why is this person now feeling compelled to speak to something that he saw all these years ago? I don't understand.
It's just still just part of the witch hunt with the you know, the LGBTQI community. People still don't understand that sexuality is on a sliding scale,
spectrum,
curve, and spectrum, right? That monogamy is made up, and that this is you know, people are sexual beings, and men are going to be, you know, people are going to do their thing. People are still coming to grips with that. It's still being politicized. So on one level, it's about doing that, like outing people and the gossipiness of it. On the other side, with the darkness and the sexual predatorness of it all, you've got that coming on the edge of the Me Too movement, where people are like, look, I've been abused and I need to come out and get this out. So you've got both things happening. It's, you know, with the Will Smith thing, there are no victims in that. There's no reason why anybody should be talking about what happened.
That's why I'm just, Maurice just said that I guess he's writing a book. Yeah.
He's writing, supposedly he's writing a book.
And then, okay, so then you have that. Because let me just say this. I am so sick of people coming forth with their trauma, their situations with their domestic partners. And as they come forward, then they get booked to host a show. They get booked to host an award show. Stop doing that. If you come forward with your dirty laundry, you should be off of the
exactly the circuit. Period.
Off the circuit. We don't want you coming forward with your stuff just so you can start making more money. If you come forward with a scandal, we are going to give you an immediate 7 to 12 month hiatus from high profile gigs so you can work out your stuff and get your life together. I think if we started doing that, we'd see a lot less of this garbage, because some of it is just for people to get money.
Well, I also want to bring to the table the double standard. Okay, we're talking about men here. We're talking about the sexual, you know, men and their sexuality. If two women did that, I guarantee you it would not be getting the blow up, the buzz, the you know, that would not happen. And so the double standards and how people deal with situations like this is also to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it sometimes irritates the mess out of me how, you know, you get to, again, stories like Will Smith, and it's like, who, two men?
Yeah.
Like it's the first time you've ever heard it. But if that happens to two women, if there's a story, that story is like smoking a cigarette. It's gone. You know, you blow it out your mouth and it's gone. And the double standards make me sick in that regard.
We are masculinity at play.
We are reminded, though, also of the cost. Sometimes it has happened in Hollywood. You know, when we think of Ellen DeGeneres, for instance, and how her career pretty much was ended for a while. Like she was on ice for a while as a result of her decision to come out. I'm thinking about, you know, say for instance, now that I believe Queen Latifah has become a bit more public in terms of her.
We were going in there.
We were definitely going in. We were going in. We were going in. And again, thank you for creating Let's Get Newsy, because our viewers love it and they tune in for it. So I couldn't do it without you guys. So that is one of my favorite memories from this year. So yes.
Gosh.
You're muted.
You are so muted. Which is how
I was having a moment about like what was going on and talking about, like, you know, because we all said really amazing things. But look, my favorite clip is from the Ramal Tunes. I Wish My Dad. It's from that show, and the clip is available on YouTube, so you can actually go and watch the clip. Let me see if I can put the link into the chat. Go watch the clip. It talks about the most important thing that a dad can say to their child, and it's the most important thing anybody can say to anybody. And as we start out this new year, I just want to say I love you guys, and I'm really thrilled to be able to be here each and every week and create magic with you and to help change people's lives and make them think differently. So go watch that clip of Ramal explaining that, and hear us tell you that we love you on He Said, He Said, He Said.
Oh, thank you, Vosh.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have run over a little bit. So thank you for hanging in there with us, ladies and gentlemen. But it's the first show of the year, and we had a lot to say. So can we bring Nova Payton back to the panel, please? Because we want to say goodbye and thank her. Thank you again, Nova, for being here. Thank you
for having me.
And we will make sure, ladies and gentlemen, tickets. Go get your tickets at the Studio Theater. It's on January the 16th.
Signature Theater.
Did I say Studio?
Studio. It's okay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Signature Theater. Okay.
There you go.
Signature Theater, ladies and gentlemen. Look, before we leave, we got to give you our words of the week. Behind you are all of your memories. Before you are all of your dreams. Around you, all who love you, and within you is really all you need.
Hey.
So take those with you this week, ladies and gentlemen, and we look forward to seeing you next week for our Let's Get Newsy show. we will be back next week. And again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Nova, for joining us.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you guys again on the next episode of He Said.
He said.
He said.
What she said tonight.
She said.
All right.
Nova
Good night,
Payton.
everybody.
Nova Payton.